Hello and welcome to this live stream on the eve of the new trading year. And thanks for joining me. So thanks for being here. I wanted to get back into doing these streams, so this is the very first one of the year. I'm a little bit nervous, but the only way to overcome that nervousness is by jumping straight into it and doing my first stream for the year. So here we are. I've prepared a little bit for the week ahead. We've got a few interesting things to look out for, which I'm just going to run through with you. I hope you've all had a good rest over the holidays and you've prepared well for the upcoming year. You've all done your reviews. You've got your things you want to improve on, and you're ready to kick off this week. It should be a fun week. I don't think it'll be too quiet. I think we've got some interesting things being thrown at us, starting with Wednesday's FOMC minutes. And then we've also got the NFP on Friday, which is really going to be very interesting, I think, seeing how the jobless rates are moving, and if they're compiling up to a slowing down of the US economy, so that the Fed can then ultimately start tapering its interest rate rises, which everyone's very fearful of, including me, anyone with a mortgage anyway. So let's just jump straight through to what I really want to talk to. I want to just sort of throw you back to last year's beginning of the year. The year tends to end in a bit of a damp squib. You've not got a lot of volume going through. There's no new business really coming in at the end of the year. Most people are just squaring things off, and you end up with this very balanced end of the year. I mean, you might get a late spike like we did on Friday, where you just got a bit of short covering, but those are all just late comers into the into the party, the short party, and they just had to get out before the year's out, because they want to go to their parties. But going into the new year, we have got this very balanced profile. We've got an inside week, which I think we need to pay attention to. And why do we want to pay attention to it? Because inside weeks can offer you great risk reward. And I think when I started to trade inside weeks, I found it a little bit difficult, because your initial thoughts are, I'm going to trade the first break of the inside day, inside week, whatever it is, the balance. But quite often that's actually the wrong move. Quite often you get the move, there's a false breakout, and then you get like a very a more aggressive move to the other side of balance, which then breaks, and then you get the liquidating moves that then follow, and then you get these nice trends that happen. An auction always sort of begins in balance, which is what we've got at the moment going into the beginning of the year. But then it sort of tends to sort of break out, ends in an excess, and ultimately or potentially exhaustion. So let's just quickly have a look at what I've prepared for you guys. So I wrote a little piece about inside weeks. I just want to quickly run through that. Now this is just going to bring this up. Let me see. Sorry, whoops. I'm not very proficient at using this OBS software, so please forgive me. Okay, let me just press F11 to... No, that's not what I wanted to do. That's... okay, I think... Let's have a little me in the corner. Yeah, there you go. There's a little me in the corner. Okay, so I just wrote this, and basically it's just an outline of how I trade balance, what I'm looking for, and some of the questions I ask when I'm trading this kind of a setup, which is it can give you great risk reward. The longer that we spend in balance, whether it's a few hours, a day, a week, or even even monthly balance, you've got a much bigger, a lot more potential for a bigger move. You get a lot more trap positioning that then has to then sort of reassess. So the longer, the bigger the balance, the greater potential for the move. So we've got a couple of weeks going into this, going into the week ahead. So we really want to be paying attention to it. So if you're not used to this and you don't know what I'm talking about, have a look at what I've written down. I won't go into too much detail. We've got the open just in about 20 minutes, and I want to sort of just pay attention to what's been going on there. So have a look, and if you've got any questions, just try and get back to me. It's not comprehensive. I think trading is quite nuanced. If I was to put down everything that I'm thinking or looking at or formulate it, it would be a lot more than one page, and you probably wouldn't want to read it. And each trader is individual, and the things that I look at might not be what you are looking at. So this is just basically my basic overview of how I trade. Generally, just trading balance, but into the week ahead, I'm going to focus on where are the key areas for the week, and I'm going to quickly move to my my prep that I've done, so we can have a look at our levels. Which one is it? It's this one here. Okay, I'm going to start doing these weekly reviews up again. It's good for me, and it's good for anyone who wants to have a look. I'll just quickly have a look at the, what are the other markets doing? These are the bonds. They're quite clearly moving lower. In the middle of, they're not off. They're not anywhere near their lows, but they're definitely trending lower. We're definitely trending lower into the end of the year. We've got our other markets here that I like to look at. So this is just something I put up for my review, and I encourage you all to sort of do the same. Anyway, how do I start my weekly review? The first thing I do is have a look at the 5-minute price action. Just a quick refresh of what's been going on. You should remember where the big turning points were. Last week we had a sustained move lower in the middle of the week, which resulted in overnight shorts getting trapped. Then we had the short covering on Thursday. Then we had you should be able to remember what were the main key points. But it's nice to have a look at a chart and just have a look at where we had like a big volume spike, where did we have like the key turning points, and you can see quite clearly from that chart up there. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, yeah, you are. Let me just make it big for you all. Let me see if I can. Is that better? Don't know. You can see that we were basically rotating around the prior week's POC, which was I think around the 38.50 mark. So we were just rotating around. I've highlighted the mid here. 38.44 was basically where the auction was just rotating up and down. We had opportunities to go higher. We had an opportunity to go lower. On Thursday, early in the week, we had an opportunity we were just holding, and you can see we're just bouncing off these 72s up here. Failed to take those out, or we took them out, and then we fell back inside, and then we rotated all the way back down. Look where the pullback was to that midpoint, which was roughly where the prior week's POC was, and then we rotated all back down to the other side, near the lower end of balance from the prior week, and then we closed on the lows. People were probably expecting a significant push lower, but what we found was that there was just someone absorbing liquidity down there, and then we just had this shorts got trapped, reversal back up. We can see also the volume wasn't there last week, and we wouldn't expect it to be. Perhaps into the end of the week we had I certainly had expectations of a slightly more active market. Basically just I thought the quarter end, year end, I thought there might be some more adjustments, but they just happened very late, and a 30 tick 40 tick move that we had was from the lows to the highs is not really what I was expecting, and the volume wasn't there as well. So as soon as you see volume not really turning up, it's time to turn off. And I had a few trades in here, and it was very choppy, messy. Yeah, I mean, depending on how you were trading, it wasn't too easy to lose money because it wasn't going anywhere as long as you picked your spots. Okay, anyway, so I've highlighted here all the the highs and lows. I start with this 5-minute chart just to refresh, just to have a really good idea of what's been going on throughout the week. And then what I like to do is we're always talking about outside high time frames and then working your way down. So then I'll have a look at the candles, have a look at what's going on in the broad picture. We've got this downtrend, and we are now trading somewhere in the middle of this pullback up to the upper trend channel. And I've drawn a Fibonacci. I don't really use them too much, but I do like to know where what everyone else is looking at. We've got this this October low, which was the yearly low, and then we've rotated all the way back up. We had the spike on CPI, and now we're trading in the middle of this, from lows to highs. We're trading bang on the middle, where we pretty much settled into the year end, and that is something that is, we're very, very balanced into the year end. I think I highlighted here this little candle here. Don't read too much into it because it's the year end, and we're trading into a very it's extremely balanced. What we're doing is rotating from one side to the other. This looks like a very bullish candle, but I wouldn't read too much into it. But another thing I highlighted on this chart for you guys is just notice the rotations and where they sort of culminate and where they rotate back to, where the rotations sort of start to change. And we've got like these high volume nodes that tend to sort of predicate where we make that turn. So that's just something that you just spot over time. If you have a look, they tend to happen at the beginning or the middle of the month. So or the end of the month, beginning, end of the month, or in the middle. So and what happens in the middle? We've got OPEX. So something. This is where I expect the immediate range to be playing out into next week, and it looks like we're probably going to end up opening higher after what happened today in Europe, because Europe was open. So that was the broader picture. We're just looking at the candles, looking at what the trend is, looking at what the the rolling VWAP's doing. We're trading above, below the moving averages. Whatever it is that you're looking at, just good to have a look at your bigger picture. Next thing I'll look at is our monthly profiles. So these are the monthly profiles, and I'll just highlight all the key little areas. Look, all the nooks and crannies, the high volume nodes, low volume nodes, any singles, breaks, spike bases. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I'll highlight any of the, anything prevalent that I think that, where I think or I've noticed that, they'll probably, I expect to see a reaction. I want to mark it out. I want to know where it is. And on the right hand side, I've got this composite profile, which is basically an amalgamation of all these profiles put together. I think one of the important things to really mark out at the end of the week, at the end of the month, is and especially at the end of the year, is this little this level here, which is the previous year's settlement. So we settled the year at 38.61. Coming into the beginning of the year, that number is going to, I guarantee we'll be bouncing off that level up and down until the dominant side, prevalent side takes over, and we end up taking a directional move one way or the other. But I guarantee you that is going to be a reference point. And also it just happens to be we just closed at the month's point of control, which we all know that it's kind of acts as a bit of a magnet. Whoops, I've clicked on that again, so I'm sorry, I apologize. So just looking at the monthly profiles, I've marked things out. We can see that we've got this like non-excess low at the lows, we've got non-excess at the highs. This was this kind of kicked off where we had a double high. I think it was CPI opened pretty much a tick below the prior day's high, and then we just kind of aggressively we had a lot of longs liquidating and getting out. They They used the CPI number for liquidity and then rotated the auction all the way back inside the prior November month, back into value, and then we just carried on, traversing all the way down, where we've just spent a lot of time just hanging out and creating this big high volume node. So I expect, there's potential for some kind of, interaction with that high volume node at 38.62. So I'll be paying some special attention to that level. And then also we've got like this, we're still inside this composite high volume node, where we have a high volume node at 39.92, just below the millennium number. So I've just marked out where I think we're going to see some sort of, where I expect to see some, big, I expect to see buyers and sellers stepping in at these areas. And if they don't, then I know what I'm doing. And if we do break through those levels, I'm, probably looking to, looking for pullbacks or continuation. I'm going to be monitoring for continuation of moves either side of those pivots, which are denoted by these slightly bigger up-down candles, whatever you want to call them. I don't know, I made it up on the spot. I think they look cool. I've changed a little bit how I've formatted I've been playing around with it for quite some time. I think this is a much cleaner approach. You've got all your levels highlighted on the charts here. I hope that makes sense to some of you. Hang on, I'm going to check if I'm actually streaming this or I'm just talking to myself. I have no idea. If any of you are out there and you've got any questions, feel free to... Oh yeah, I'm live. Hello, Youssef. Yes. Hi. Nice to see one person on here. I didn't actually advertise this. I was actually just incredibly nervous about coming on here and having a chat. I've also got to whisper because my kids are asleep, and it's not something I'm normally going to be doing. Having these sessions so late in this. Because my kids are next door sleeping. Anyway, it looks like we're all working, and I've got one guy on here with me, so thank you very much for attending. Anyway, it used to be my mum when I started doing this, but I'm going to be hopefully doing this a lot more into the new year. Anyway, so just looking at this monthly profile, I've highlighted the key areas. We can see that the last month's profile was basically, we'll just whip down to, after this comment, I'm just going to whip to the weekly profiles. So this is all sessions, by the way. I've used the all sessions for the monthly. Some people don't like to look at the all sessions. I like to look at them. I like to look at the all sessions. Whoops, let's just go back. Okay, anyway, so the month was basically made up of this, this push up. We broke November highs, came back inside, and then we broke back lower, and we spent all our time down the bottom. Now, what I really want to be looking at, and where I'm going to be really paying close attention to, is this little blue line here. Now, it denotes an area where the auction traded through, but never managed to cover that price again, that 39.65. So we know there was some sort of responsive selling, through that price. So if we approach that price again, I want to be watching to make sure. I'll be looking to see whether or not we've got any a reaction to that. And actually, that 39.65 is not as accurate as it can be. I'm going to just show you the next page, which is my weekly profile. So what I do is I'll look at the monthlies. I'll sort of look for the bigger picture. I'll look, trying to get an idea of what I expect to be going on. I expect us to be initially just, potentially just, if we open up above this 38.62, which was the Friday close, last year's close, I expect us to, probably have use this as a platform to push back higher. And then let's have a look what happens up here. Or if we open below, I expect this, this 38.62 to use it as a springboard for a move lower and take out these poor December lows. So let's just quickly move to the weekly profile. And, like I said, the area that I'm really interested in is this 39.65 area, which also coincides with the 50-day moving average, I think, and 100 DMA. I think the 50's up there as well. So we've got a lot of interest in this little area here, and you can see it's also on this composite, we've got this little low volume node here, which I've sort of highlighted with this little circular, this little circle. So let's just quickly have a look at the weekly and just have a look, make things a little bit clearer. So what we're trying to do is sort of zoom out, get a bigger picture, and then we're going to go down into lower time frames. We've got 8 minutes, guys. 8 minutes before the open, because I really want to pay attention to see what's going to happen after what happened in Europe. So we can see we've got this inside week, and we're likely to open on the above the weekly POC. But the area I'm interested in again is the 3965, and which is up here. But the first things first are we've got 3965. So basically we've got this inside week. First thing we've got to get over is this singles print that we've got here, which I actually forgotten to put in there, which I think it's 3885. Yeah, I think it's 3885. I should have put that in there. I'm really sorry. I think I was trying to make things. I think I highlighted it here. It looks obvious. Anyway, it's basically it's the last week's highs, which is 3883, which is below the singles break. So this area here is really interesting. If you break above that, I want to see whether or not, given the fact that we're trading an inside week, I want to see whether or not if we break above it, whether or not if we push back inside, are we going to keep ourselves out of value? So our buyer is going to step in and say, right, okay, I want to be buying at the upper end of the scale of value, and I want to see the interactions. If there's a push out, if we push back inside, I want to see what that interaction is in these areas here, and it's the value area high, the breakout high as well, of course. And this is really, really important. And then ultimately, if we start pushing back inside value, whether or not that VPOC holds, okay? And a lot of the times when you're trading a breakout, especially from an inside week, what you're really looking for is you're looking for the breakout, you're waiting, you're anticipating, but you really want to pay attention to what kind of participation, whether volume is, whether that breakout, whether higher prices or lower prices, if we break down to the downside, whether or not we're seeing higher volume, and that would indicate that potentially we've got other time frame participants who are entering into the market, we've got people stopping out, and then that will just help us, all that together gives us a drive. Now if we've got like just a very thin trail higher or lower, then that is suspect to me. I'm not going to treat that with as much confidence, although I am willing to partake and get involved. I'm not going to be taking any big bets based on that, because I really want to see some higher time frame participation. And we've got like big consolidation areas. I expect to see some high time frame, because it's moving out of that area for a reason. Usually you got participants agreeing on a price, but you've got an auction, it consolidates, you've got your balance. The reason it's moving out is because one side, either the buyers or the sellers, have just decided that do you know what, value's not here, we need to go. There'll be a hunt for value. The market will move until it finds liquidity that says, okay, do you know what, this is a fair price, let's do business here, which is basically what the POC is, and that's why it's so important to what we do. So that's pretty much how I'm looking at it. So it looks like we're probably going to have an attempt to break to the upside, but if we do, I want to be really paying attention to the volume and the way that we break. And I kind of spoke about it a little bit in my notes that I prepared, and basically it's not much more different than what I have written down. Try to keep the rules simple, just keep some really key levels that you want to sort of just be focusing on and see, right, okay, we've broken above here. Last time there were some sellers here, last time there were some buyers here. Are they still here? Yes or no? And if we move back to that price, are the counter traders, the ones that have taken it through that resistance or support, are they stepping in and not allowing price to move back to the prior established value? So once that's sort of, once we do that, then that gives me a bit of confidence to say, right, okay, if we are breaking up to the upside, for example, this gives me a bit of confidence to say, right, okay, I can see that here there's a lot of support here. We've broken up above, where participants have prior agreed that, consensus and where they've done business. We're moving away. We're going to look, and this is going to give me some confidence to take the trade and hold it. Okay, and that's pretty much all I'm going to have time for, I think, because I really want to watch this open. I wanted to say a few more things, but basically this is a function of me not having the balls to come up and having a chat sooner, but and I left it too late to come up. I wanted to finish before the actual open. I don't know if you want, if anybody wants, I can restart the stream and we can do a live open. I'm happy to do that, but I want to try and keep this this video in relation to the inside day. Right, what else did I put in my notes for the month end? I also I just highlighted what happened last year. It was an inside week coming into the end of the year's close. We had this false break to the upside. You can see this is it here, false break to the upside, and then we had this move lower, and the following day we rejected the POC, had this really big liquidation move lower, and that's kind of what I'm looking for going into this week, and that's why I wanted to do this video, because I really want to make you guys aware that these balance areas, these multi-day areas of balance, inside weeks, that kind of thing, can really give you a stepping board for some good risk reward trades. So let's pay attention. Let's be aware of the key levels that we want to be focusing on, and those are sort of like the POC, the highs and lows, value area highs, value area lows. So yeah. What else is there? So yeah, this was last year's. Please have a look at it. It's in my notes. It's there for you to have a look at. I debriefed this year. I don't think I did very well in this. I'm not sure. I don't think I did. I don't remember anything memorable about trading it. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I was trading at that time. Okay, and then just quickly have a look at the week. This is just basically some seasonality analysis, having a look at what happens at the beginning of the week, for the beginning of the year, what tends to happen in January. Yeah, have a look at that in your own spare time, and that's pretty much all I wanted to really go through for this. There we go, nice big gap. Now what I'm looking for on this open, I'm going to stop the stream actually and then start again. If anybody wants to join me, we can carry on this conversation. Okay, thanks for joining me, and hopefully you found this useful.